Hi everyone, welcome back to the show. I'm Phillip. I hope your week has been at least somewhat steady. Maybe not everything went as planned, but I hope you still found a few small moments of strength. A warm cup of coffee, a conversation where you felt understood, or the quiet thought before bed saying, "It's okay, I will try again tomorrow." Today, I want to continue talking about a theme every one of us encounters while trying to move forward in life, work, family, and relationships. Failure. If you have recently gone through a setback, big or small, this episode is especially for you. There's no research that can tell us how many times a person fails in a lifetime, but psychologists give us helpful ways to think about failure. We can roughly see it in three levels: small everyday failures, medium-sized setbacks, and major life-shifting crises. And when we see it this way, we realize we are actually encountering failure almost every day. Small failures are the daily stumble, unfinished task, skip plan, awkward conversation, misunderstandings, or that familiar thought, "I wish I had done better today." Across a lifetime, they easily number in the thousands. Medium-sized setback leave stronger mark. An exam that didn't work out, a job offer that didn't come through, a project or business attempt that failed, the end of a meaningful relationship, or a season of financial pressure. We may only experience a handful, but they shape us deeply. Then there are major failure, identity shaking seasons when something long built collapsed, a relationship break apart, a dream falls through, or we face a personal or emotional crisis that make us ask, "Do I still have the strength to keep going?" They don't happen often, but they become part of our life story. Psychology tells us that these painful failures, though happy, often contain the greatest potential for growth. If we are willing to pause, reflect, and understand what they are trying to teach us. So, instead of asking, "How many times will I fail?" the better question is, when failure happens, do I have the courage and capacity to grow from it? Failure isn't really about quantity, it's about meaning. Failing more doesn't automatically make someone stronger, and failing less doesn't automatically mean success. What matters is whether we can face failure honestly, instead of avoiding it, and whether we can see it as feedback rather than a verdict on our worth. Mature people tend to treat failure not as proof that I'm not good enough, but as information that helps them adjust direction. That's why in Right Kind of Wrong, Amy Edmondson reminds us that the real issue is not that mistake occurred, it's how we respond afterward. No person, team, or relationship can avoid failure entirely. What determines growth is whether we deep in and intentionally build a healthy failure culture. A healthy failure culture is one where mistakes can be seen and talked about, instead of being hidden or punished. Environment that silence mistake may look perfect on the surface, but underneath there is fear, pressure, and unspoken risk. And when something finally breaks, the damage is far worse. Edmondson highlights 4 qualities of such a culture. The first is openness. People can ask questions, express doubt, and talk honestly about things that didn't go well. The second is psychological safety. When someone admits they don't know or make a mistake, they don't fear humiliation or losing respect. Without psychological safety, people simply stop speaking up and improvement becomes impossible. A powerful example is Microsoft under Satya Nadella. When he became CEO, the company wasn't weak, but its culture leaned toward internal competition, defensiveness, and fear of being wrong. He shifted Microsoft from a know-it-all culture to a learn-it-all one, encouraging curiosity instead of blame, discussion of failure instead of hiding them, and collaboration over rivalry. Innovation accelerates not just because of technology, but because psychological safety increases. The third quality is systemic learning. Instead of blaming a person when something fails, we look for patterns, unclear process, or structures that make mistakes more likely. And the fourth is accumulated wisdom. Mistakes are corrected, reflected on, and turned into shared learning so others don't repeat them. A striking example comes from healthcare research. Edmondson found that medical teams that reported more mistakes actually had better patient outcomes because problems were surfaced earlier, discussed sooner, and solved faster. Teams that reported almost no mistakes weren't safer. They were simply afraid to speak up. And I think that applies to our personal lives too. The safest people are not those who never fail, but those who can face failure honestly, learn from it, and keep moving forward. So, if you are currently walking through a season of disappointment or wrestling with failure, you are not alone. And as painful as this moment may feel, it may also be an invitation to see your life more truthfully, to adjust expectation and pace, and to discover a deeper kind of strength. If this episode has been meaningful to you, I'll be grateful if you share it with someone who may also be struggling with failure but is still trying their best to move forward. Thanks for spending this time with me. I'm Phillip, and I will talk to you next time.